Hi. A lot of spiritual teachers base their teachings on a single attribute of their enlightened state. And these teachers are mostly those who have not followed any spiritual path, but through mere luck, one day obtained the enlightened state. Or those whose teachers taught them that mimicking an attribute of the enlightened state would result in self realization. Once someone attains enlightenment, a lot changes in the way he perceives the world. Some spiritual teachers relate more to a particular way of perceiving or a particular experience or attribute of the enlightened state than to the others. And therefore, they set up their teachings on that particular attribute or experience or perception. I will now share with you a few examples of the teachings of spiritual teachers that are based on a single attribute of enlightenment to help you understand better. Let us say that someone attained the enlightened state and now he experiences that his thoughts do not stick around, they come and they go. So he bases his teachings on the concept that your suffering exists because you believe your thoughts. These teachings are good to provide relief from psychological pain until you keep practicing not to believe the thoughts. But it will not help in attaining the state of enlightenment where the suffering ceases to exist permanently. Similarly, another example is when the enlightened being experiences that not only the thoughts, but even his experiences do not stick around. Like if he experiences anger in the moment, the next moment it is not there. His teachings will be based on the concept that the only reality that exists is this very moment. Everything else is nothing and does not hold any power. These teachings again are good to provide relief from the psychological pain that humans experience due to their racing minds until they keep practicing and bringing their attention back to this moment. But it will not help in attaining the state of enlightenment where the suffering ceases to exist permanently. Yet another example is, which is very famous nowadays among the spiritual teachers who have read books on non duality and are now mimicking the perception of the enlightened beings, who express the truth saying that there is no one to experience, the experiencing is happening. Their teachings are based on the concept that you are not the person, but the awareness, and everything that happens should not bother you because it is not happening to you. These teachings may provide people with a momentary experience of calm when something bad happens to them, and they say that there is no one to experience and the bad experience is just happening. On the other hand, a lot of people also experience dissociation and other issues by continuously repeating the statements such as there is no one to experience and the experiencing is happening. I will discuss the issues faced by people reading books on non duality in a separate video. Coming back to this, even if we assume that these teachings provide temporary calm, these teachings still do not help one attain enlightenment where the suffering ceases to exist permanently. Here is another example. An enlightened being experiences that he lives in a state of surrender. So his teachings are based on the concept that if you live in a state of surrender, your suffering will end. For the enlightened being, it works because he will respond to the circumstances as they arise in a spontaneous manner. So if they require calmness, he will be calm. And if they require aggression, he will also be aggressive. But beneath all this, he is in surrender, he is peaceful. But for others who have not attained enlightenment, surrender means more to say yes to everything that comes in life, and not to oppose anything, which will not really work. Because in a world where we are continuously surrounded by negative influences, we need to say no several times in our lives. Also, surrender comes at a very high stage for a spiritual aspirant. While he is walking on a spiritual path, when he gains wisdom and understanding about where to surrender, when to surrender, whom to surrender to, and how to surrender. Thus, simply mimicking the experience of surrender will not help you attain enlightenment either. So, to sum it all up, mimicking the attribute of an enlightened being is not going to provide you permanent freedom from suffering, and it will not make you enlightened.